Hello. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do one of the reading enrichment activities. So this activity that I'm going to be talking about is the word sorting activity. And you might need the reference page for this. You might not, but if you do, it is here, and it is the word sorting section. So this is kind of like the answers, and this is definitely not something that I would show or share with the student because that would defeat the purpose. I'm trying to get them to do it on their own, but that is for the adult. So this is, like I said, a word sorting activity, and the first thing that I would ask the student to do is read the directions. If they were unable to read the directions themselves, that's okay. Then I would just read it to them and probably have them repeat it back to me. In most cases, I'll have them repeat it back to me. So sort these words and name your categories. And I would usually pause at the word these and say, okay, sort these words. I'm talking about these, or are the words that I'm talking about. These are the words we're going to sort. And when we name the categories, we're going to put the category heading up here in this space, right? So we're going to sort these words into two different categories, and then I might just kind of push it towards them and say, what do you think? And let them kind of take it from there. And that would be the most minimal amount of support that I would give at first, because the purpose and point of this activity is a higher order thinking activity where I'm trying to get kids to think about the definitions of these words, and really a comprehension activity and thinking about how they could categorize and sort the words into different sections. And I want to give them as little support as possible at first. That said, the next thing that if they needed my support, I would do is I would say, okay, well, let's read the words. I want to hear you read all of the words out loud. Let's just make sure that we're pronouncing them correctly and that we know how to say each word. So after listening to the student read all of the words, I would ask, if they needed me to, I would say, okay, are there any words that you don't know what they mean or what they are? And then we would have a conversation about any words that they didn't know. But at that point, I would, say if they needed my support. Again, this is another scaffold. After asking them to read the words out to you, I would scaffold them by saying, okay, how could two of these words down here go together? Like, in what way could they be categorized together? And so we're looking for them to maybe sort of connect elk and croc, or croc and swan, and then they might say, like, oh, they're animals. And I would say, bingo. Okay, so I think you have your first category. And I want to say I think because I don't want to give it away. I don't want to do the mental lifting for them. I want them to do it. So I would say, okay, so you said animals. Are there any other animals that could possibly be sorted together? And get them to say, okay, so elk, frog, and stag. So hopefully they're doing that on their own at this point. And if they want to go ahead and name their category and they feel confident enough to do that, I know they're right, so I'm going to let them do that. If they needed my help spelling animals, I would definitely do it. Sometimes kids like to take the lead and spell it on their own. If it was spelled incorrectly, I would take the time to have them correct it. But then sometimes kids like to just draw lines up into the box, but that kind of defeats the purpose because I really want them to connect it to writing. So I would say, that's fine, you can draw the line to the box, but then I want you to also add the word. So I'm going to have them spell the word frog, right? Spell the word stag. And sometimes they'll sigh and huff and puff, but that's okay. I'm still gonna make them do it anyways. And then at this point, so we've got some words left over. I will invite them, and this is another scaffold. If they need it, I will invite them to cross out the words that they've figured out are animals, just to kind of make it visually a little bit easier for them to see the other ones that are left over, to make those leftover ones pop out. And so we're looking to see, okay, how could blob and scum fit together, right? And this is another prompt that would be a prompt on my part. I'm trying not to do that, but if they needed me to, I would. And they at first might say, I don't know, but if I step back, I notice that sometimes they'll come up with really great ideas that I didn't even think of. So I'm listening for them to say something like, "Oh, they're kind of goopy things," or they're like they're liquid things, or they're gross things. All things that I would accept, because I would be like, "Okay, let's look at the other words left over." Is glop? Is that kind of associated sometimes with grossness? For sure. A glob of some could sometimes be associated with grossness. So ideally, the heading would be like, the most scientific heading would be material substance, but I don't know. I've never really had a student say that. But if they really needed my support, I would probably tell them that. I would be okay with that, especially if it was an older student. But they could also just say something like goop words, or goo. Um, that would be okay. And then, but higher order thinking is, generally we're trying to get kids to come up with their own answers, and not some like predetermined fit into a box answer. And I've already decided what the answer is. So if they came up with something that could be correct, then I would definitely let them go with it. I would definitely let them use whatever word or description that they used, because that's kind of the point of it. So that's that activity. And if they needed my help spelling the word up here, then I would do it. But that's it. That's the word sorting activity.